Hello and welcome to another vlog. It is currently Thursday. I finished filming and editing this morning my video on Stationery Fest, and so I thought I would start the next vlog by baking some focaccia. Let me move these keys out of the way. So I've had a lot of asks on the recipe for my focaccia over on Instagram, so I thought I would actually do a run through of how I make it. It's really simple, really easy. We are going to start off by putting in our bowl 420 millilitres of lukewarm water. So that is water that you can put your hand on. It's warm, but it's not hot. It's not boiling hot. So 420 millilitres of that. You then want to add 5 grams of honey for your sugar. Nice and natural, no refined sugars. So just 5 grams of that. It's not that much. Then you want 15 grams of olive oil. This is focaccia, remember, so it is oily bread. 15 grams of that. Don't put your salt in yet. You want, so the original recipe I did actually asks for less. It only asks for 4 grams of fast action yeast, but I like to use 7 because I like my focaccia bubbly. So we're going to add a whole sachet of fast action yeast. You can use the other yeast as well. This would work because you're putting it into hot water anyway. You just need to leave it a little bit longer to bubble up. But I find this works the best. This is actually my last sachet, so I need to get some more. Then just get a fork and just whisk that up. Let it bubble away. You don't even have to wait that long. You could technically not wait at all. But just make sure that's all incorporated. The sugar will help activate the yeast. You don't want to add the salt too soon because that will deactivate the yeast. It will kill the yeast. And then next you are just going to add in 500 grams of bread flour. So I have Alison's, but any bread flour will work. This is strong white bread flour. It's the best bread flour I've found. However, I've just bought the biggest bag from Costco of Canadian wheat bread flour, so I'm excited to try that. I wonder if it's any different. It might not be different at all, but I'm not kidding, it's like the size of my torso. But yeah, you just add in the 500 grams of flour. This is a no-knead recipe as well, so it's quite a lot of flour. This makes a big focaccia, so feel free to half this. I have halved it before, it works fine. You just obviously put it in a smaller tray so that it doesn't spread too far. I'm also obviously using a very small bag of flour, so it looks like it's a hell of a lot out of this bag, but it is just a small bag. So just 500 grams of that. And then you want 10 grams of salt, very important. It will, like I say, it's a lot of bread. You want the salt in there, otherwise it's not going to taste very good. But 10 grams of salt, I'm just using flaky salt, but any salt, table salt, Himalayan salt if you really wish, is perfect for that. 10 grams, there we go. And then literally just mix that up, get that all incorporated, get it into a sticky dough, and then you leave it for 10 minutes. It's a no-knead recipe. You just have to do a couple of stretch and folds. I guess you could class that as kneading, so maybe it's a very light amount of kneading, but it's not yet like your standard bread. You know, I've made bread where I've had to knead for 30 minutes, and that is hellish. No one actually wants that, but you literally mix that up until it's all incorporated, and it will be a very sticky dough. I suggest mixing this up with a fork and getting that all mixed up. Like that. So it will look very sticky, as you can see. Feel free, you can leave your fork in there for now. Put it somewhere warmish. It doesn't even have to be that warm. I tend to either put it next to the sink or on the back of my stove. And I just leave it. Wait 10 minutes, I'll show you what you do in 10 minutes. But in the meantime, once I've set this timer, we are going to discuss what the plans are for this vlog, what we're going to achieve in this vlog. And basically, since Stationery Fest is over, I felt extremely lost. I felt relieved because there's not tons to do. because we'd done so much prep work for Stationery Fest, my next market, which is Kirksall Festival, which is quite a big day, it's another big day event, I feel like I've got everything ready. Other than beading some spiders, some small spiders, I feel like everything is ready, which is great. But the last couple of days, it's felt weird. It's like I've forgotten how to relax and not do anything for a change. I've had a couple of orders. I've had 2 orders, one from Kat Creates Rainbows, or KCS Stationery. I also had one from a contestant from Australian MasterChef, which was really cool. She wanted me to blow up my A4 pumpkin print. I think I may have mentioned this in my last vlog. She wanted me to blow up an A4 pumpkin print and also do a mini mushroom tumbler, so I did both of those, and she's hanging that on her wall already. I shared it on my stories. But other than fulfilling those, I've kind of felt a bit lost. However, I did want to launch my rainforest, second half of my rainforest series by the end of this week. So tomorrow it will be launching, and I have done all the listings. I've just taken the product photos. I need to edit them and then finish those listings. And then the only last thing to do with that is to potentially try and finish mocking out and making sure I can print my limited orangutan print from my big gallery inking. So once I've figured out how to print that, how I want to print it, that's it. It's all ready to launch, and I'll launch it tomorrow. And then, like I say, I'm a bit lost. I have my jellyfish painting I've been working on, but I actually discussed this with Kat in one of their cabin sessions, that I think I'm going to hold off launching that anytime soon, because I've launched a lot. I've got 3 collections. Yeah, I've got 3 collections up on the website now, amongst other products, and I've got a lot of stock to shift. I was hoping I would shift a lot of it for Stationery Fest, but I didn't. And unfortunately, that just means I have a lot of stock, basically. And I can fit more stock in, and I can afford more stock at the moment. It's fine. But I don't want to have just tons of stock and forever be trying to shift old stock. Like, I've still got tons of stuff from my mini mushroom launch, which is my first big collection. So, you know, I need to pare it back, and I think I have some other plans for some smaller collections, things that I can make. I don't have to outsource anything. So I'm already looking towards autumn. I know it's quite soon, but I'd really love to reuse my pumpkin paintings, but also I have a little collection for some inkings as like little prints, like a little series of postcard prints. I think they would look really, really cool. So I have that in the works, and then, you know, I hate to say it, but Christmas is going to be upon us, and I have my painted discs do so well, and I really need to paint them sooner rather than later, because last year I was frantically painting every time someone ordered, and I'd sell out, and then I'd have to paint some more, and then I'd sell out, and it was not a bad problem to have, don't get me wrong, but I definitely struggled for time around Christmas with doing commissions, etc., and I inevitably at least get one commission. I'll say that, and I won't get any this year, but it's just one of those things. So I have just been really thinking about the business recently, and I really want to progress it further. It's so hard when I'm working a full-time job, but I think soon we will get there. Soon we will. I've got to, surely. I've been putting so much effort into it, and I appreciate all the love and support that I receive on these videos and on Instagram and TikTok and all of those, but sometimes it feels very hard to keep going, but the only light at the end of the tunnel is that one day this will be my thing, and yeah, that's it. That got deep, didn't it? We were just making bread a minute ago. Anyway, we've got 5 more minutes. I'll turn the camera back on when the next process is ready, and I can show you what we do next. All right, we have 25 seconds left. So usually I would do this over by the sink, but for continuity of this video, I've brought some water over here. So what you want to do, I've just washed my hands, is you want to wet your hand, let it drip a little bit, and then you should be able to handle this dough without it sticking to you too much, like that. So just keep wetting your hand in between each one. I'm just going to put this fork away a second. Yeah, so keep dipping your hand, make sure it keeps getting wet. You want to scrape the side of the bowl like that, and then you want to pull up and fold over. So you're stretching all of that dough. So you would twist your bowl, go around the edge, pull up, fold over. Now just keep doing that until your dough feels a bit less lumpy, because inevitably there's a bit of flour that's not mixed in, like that, and it should start forming a less sticky dough. Like instantly, it's already a less sticky dough. And keep going. Keep doing it until there's no more stretch in there. You want to be able to not get any more stretch out of it. A nice smooth ball, like that. So any way you want to do it, how I did it the first way, if you just want to keep doing that, or you can pick it up like that, let it stretch itself, bring it over itself like that. Keep wetting your hand if it's getting a bit too sticky, and you should be able to handle it really well without the stickiness. Like that. So just do that a little bit. You don't even have to do it as much as I just did it. A couple of times until that dough becomes smoother, there's no lumps in it. Now you want to set another timer for 10 minutes. And you want to repeat that 3 times. So after the 3 times, I will come back and I will show you what to do after that. But it's not that much else to do. So that's all you need to do. All right, so when you're on your last stretch and fold, as you can see in between, they're getting, the yeast is expanding and it's getting softer and nice and stretchy and easy to fold. So that's what you want. So on your last stretch and fold, you do a couple of stretches. I think about 4 will do it. Just like that, and then one last one like that, and then the last thing you want to do, drizzle some oil over the top, and then you want to just make sure that oil's coating the whole thing on top, and just as you can see my hand there, I'm scraping the side of the bowl and I'm pushing that oil down the side as well. So just make sure that oil's underneath if possible. You might want to add a little bit more around the edge so that it goes underneath. You just basically want to oil the whole dough like that. Like that. Now, I usually make this at night time. I put it in the fridge. The fridge stops it from rising too quickly, so then I can forget about it till the morning. But if you want to do it in one day, just leave it until it doubles inside, out and about on your counter, put something over the top of it so no flies or anything get on it, and just leave it until it doubles in size. But like I say, I put it in the fridge overnight, so in the morning I will film what I do next, which will be the next clip for you. Good morning. So you are going to want to get your dough when it has doubled inside, or once you have had a full night of it in the fridge. It should look like this, double, nice and risen, very airy and very nice. So get that out of the fridge or off your counter. You're going to want to put a drizzle of oil in the bottom of your tray. So I'm using a fairly medium, this is the medium size metal tray from IKEA. They come in 3 sizes because I want it to spread a little bit more, be puffy enough that it's still focaccia, but I also want it thin enough that it's a nice sandwich bread as well. So we're going to put a little bit of a drizzle of oil in the bottom of there, just a really thin one. You're going to get some non-stick grease-proof paper. I'm just going to stop talking whilst I do this because it's loud. So you're going to want to get that. You're just going to pop it over the top of the oil and then smoosh that oil underneath so that it holds your greaseproof paper down. Like that. Make sure you're using olive oil as well. You don't want any rapeseed oil or veg oil or anything like that. Then you're going to get your oil again and you're going to give a very good glug in here. I think it's about 2 or 3 tablespoons worth of oil. Make sure it's getting around the sides. You will have to get your hands in there in a minute, but make sure it's a really generous glug at the bottom. Actually, I think just 1 or 2 tablespoons will be plenty for this. This is to stop your focaccia from sticking to your pan. So you want to get that and you want to just move it and coat every side of your pan, all the bottom. Make sure everything is fully coated with the oil. Like that. So it should look like that, really nicely oiled with a few bits of pooling oil at the bottom there. Like I say, focaccia is an oily bread. You're going to want the oil in there just to keep it non-stick, to keep it nice and crispy on top and on the outside, but fluffy on the inside. So you're going to get your dough and you're literally going to just pour it in there. So just pour it in, don't get your hands involved, let it pour. If you've put the oil around the bottom of your dough, it should not stick to your bowl, she says, as it sticks to the bowl. There we go. So there's a little bit in there, I'm just going to scoop out and plop on the top. So once that's in, you're going to just do minimal movement with it because you want to keep some of that aeration. You're going to fold over one side, like that. You're going to fold over the other side, like that. You're going to then fold over the ends, like that. There's no math to this, just fold it over so it's all new and fresh. Then you're going to flip it. You want to flip it so that that top side has no folds on it. And you want to flip it until it's long ways in your pan. You don't want it longer on the shorter side, if you know what I mean. And that's it. Just leave that. Pop it in your oven. Don't put the oven on, just pop it in your oven. Let it rise for up to 2 hours. That's it, it's a waiting game. And then I'll come back and I'll show you what to do with it after the 2 hours. All right, you're not seeing my face because I think you need to see what's going on. So get your dough out of the oven. Then put your oven onto 180 to 200 degrees Celsius, fan oven preferably. Get that out. And then what you need to do with this is get ready to one side some things that you want to go on top. So usually we'd put olives, maybe some peppers, some bits like that, but we don't have any in at the moment, so I'm going to use some artichoke hearts, and then get some good salt. You can use table salt, but flaky salt or chunky salt will work best. We actually had some lemon salt from Italy. It's actually from Borough Market, but it's an Italian, Sicilian lemon salt. And then my mum's actually been dehydrating. I got her a dehydrator for her birthday and she's been using that, and she's made me lemon salt from salt flakes and dehydrated lemon peel. So I'm going to use a bit of that, but you want to be heavily salting this. So first things first, get your oil. You want to drizzle this, and you want to be really generous with this. Give it a real good drizzle, like a lot, like that. Then you want to get your hands in, and you want to pull this. So pull it to the corners. So don't be afraid to deflate it, but just gently pull it so it's going to fill your whole tray. You don't want this to not be filling your tray. Pull, 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 like that. Then just gently put your fingers in. That's what you want. You want that key signature dimpling that focaccia has. Like kind of push it into the sides. You'll start seeing air bubbles start to form. Just loads and loads of dimples. Loads and loads. Like that. Alright. Then you want to start putting on some of your toppings. So like I say, I've got the artichoke hearts, which are in oil, so that's good. If you're putting toppings on that have not got oil already on them, so olives usually have oil on them, but if they don't, or you're putting peppers on, make sure they get coated in the oil because they will burn in the oven. So these, like I say, are alright, so I'm just tearing them up. I'm going to put quite a few on here. We love artichoke hearts in this house. Just like that. Oh, it's cold, it's just come out of the fridge. Do the rest of them. I think there's only these two left. Like that. And sometimes if I've got olives, you know, like fancy olives that come stuffed or as part of an antipasti, sometimes I pour the oil that comes with those as well on top just to add a bit of extra flavour. I'm just going to wash my hands a second. Okay, so now we've done that, I'm going to be really generous, and like I say, it's going to look like you're putting far too much salt on this, but believe me, you want lots of salt on it. You want it to be really salty. I think I'm going to use the rest of that up, and then a smidgen of Mum's because it's a bit finer. Just a smidge on top, like that. And that's what it will look like. As you can see, there's air bubbles coming up. You want to leave those in. It's got the dimpling. It's kind of gonna start to rise in the oven. So when your oven's preheated a little bit, you want to put this in. Put it in for 20 minutes, then have a look at it. If it's not kind of toasty brown on top, put it in for a little bit longer, and I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. Right, so you kind of want it to look like this. So it's nice and brown. If you tap it, it should sound hollow. That's how you know it's done. Nice and brown. And you will be able to just slide it off this and chop it open. I recommend leaving it a little bit of time to cool down, because if you chop into it this hot, it does tend to kind of condense the dough and make it a little bit doughy like, but it doesn't mean it's not cooked, it's just because it's hot. If you leave it a little bit to cool down, you'll be able to chop into it and it will be perfect for eating. But you can see like these nice air bubbles, they're all crunchy. Let me get this nice and close, hold on, let me take this off. Like that. Nice and salty on top, and perfect and soft in the middle. So, if you make it, I'll try and include the recipe in the description below. If you make it, please tell me about it. Tell me how it goes. I'd love to know. So, I hope you've enjoyed that little cooking segment and the beginning of this vlog. We will get on with actual work next, because today's launch day. Second half of the Rainforest series is ready to launch, so after work I will be setting that to launch and potentially going live on Instagram. So I hope you've stuck by me through this little cooking segment. Let's get back to normality now. Good evening. I thought this would be a great like filming setup with all my purple lights on, but it's strobing, it's very dark, it looks a bit suspicious, so I'm gonna turn a light on. That's bright. I launched my second half of the Rainforest series over on my website at 6 p.m, so straight after work I launched it, and I went live on Instagram to launch it, and I've received, how many orders have I received? 3 orders, I think. 3 orders? Yeah, I think I've received 3 orders, one of which is to America, which is fantastic. A whole range of things, including my Rainforest bundle, and a few other things. I showed off my orangutan print, which is now finally finalised, if I can get my words out, and printed in such a way on the handmade paper that's similar to the handmade paper I did my actual original inking on, to look like it's been inked directly on there. I then number it, I title it, and then I sign it, and there will be 50 of these going on. So I've been slowly just printing these because it's going to take me a while to get them all done. I've got to put washi tape on the edges so that the ink doesn't go on the edges of the paper. But yeah, I'm slowly printing these. I'll slowly start signing them. I might even go live to do some signing of them and promote them next week. But yeah, it went really, really well. One thing to note that I do want to bring up, I will slowly show off, and I have been showing off my products on here in my vlogs and etc. But in terms of this orangutan limited print of the 50, I'm going to be donating 10% of my profits to the Rainforest Trust, in particular their Bornean orangutan cause. They are doing a specific fundraiser for that, and this is perfect for it. I wanted to donate the 10% to that. I think it will be perfect for that. So that is what will be happening when I sell all of these, and eventually if I ever sell the original, that's what the 10% of the profits will be going to. Which is exciting. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how the launch went. I didn't have many expectations. I've not been promoting it because since Stationery Fest I have been on autopilot. I've been very busy at work and I've just not had time to promote that much. So I had no expectations when I went live to sell anything. I just thought it would be a launch, I'd show off the products, people would bear it in mind for the future, and that would be it. But I had a few sales, which is fantastic. But it's currently Friday night. We have no plans this weekend, which is the first weekend in a long time, and we've already had dinner, watched some shows. We have a limoncello spritz on the go. We have our second one on the go actually, and I think we're about to play some games together and just chill out and relax and just have an evening off, probably the whole weekend off hopefully, other than packing orders, and that will be it. So I'm excited. And thank you for joining me. And if you want to check out the Rainforest launch, it's over on my website now, www.lucylocksart.com. I hope to see you there. Bye. As you can see, the studio is an absolute tip, and from that time lapse you saw me dismantling my entire side of the studio where my Kallax unit was. I think I said this in my studio tour when we first moved into this house, that the Kallax unit on top of my Alex drawers just wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't doing what I wanted, and it wasn't providing the nice storage space that I wanted. Not that I need much more storage at the moment. I'm struggling to fill what I have, but that's a good problem to have, I guess. So basically, the bottom part of this with the Alex drawers is roughly going to stay the same, but we've worked out how to extend these Ivar units across and above the Alex drawers, and I just think it will help with being cleaner, because the shorter drawers, these ones here that had my printers on, they're on wheels, so there's a gap underneath them, and Mabel always gets her balls under there, she gets biscuits thrown under there, there's always all of her fur kind of fur balls that drift under there, and then it just accumulates and dust accumulates under there. And quite frankly, because the printers are on there plugged in, it's really difficult to pull them out. And then I had the support for the Kallax unit on top of them as well, so I couldn't pull them out. And I have just done an intense clean down here because it was horrendous. So I think this will allow me to be able to pull those out better and clean, add a bit more storage, add a bit more continuity to the room, because I've got a lot of this nice pine Ivar system going on both sides of the room, and I just think it will tie in really nicely. So that's what we've done. I've spent a small fortune in IKEA again. No, it actually wasn't too bad. The Ivar units are very reasonably priced. But I just thought after Stationery Fest, I told myself if I did well, that's what I was going to treat myself on doing, was to organise this last bit of the space. And then I think in terms of everything in this room, other than a little quick tidy and a declutter, I'm going to be quite happy with the room and the way it all is set out. So I just thought I would document this. I've not documented the building of the Ivar sides because now you've got to build them, which is really weird. But I will do a bit of a time lapse of us putting this together, and I'll show you the finished piece at some point, and then a studio tour will be coming, Kezia, if you're watching. I know you've been asking for that for a while. done. Everything's looking really good. Want me to travel sick. It's taken all weekend to do it. It was a very long process. It took a lot of organisation. I did a lot of organising in the rest of the room as well. There will be a studio room tour soon since everything's done. Yeah, so I'll be doing that very soon, so do stay tuned for that. But after our successful little, well, semi-successful launch, I made a few sales of the Rainforest series. I thought we would pack up a couple of the orders here, but I'm going to do a little ASMR packing so that you can hear and listen to all the sounds and just relax with some nice packing noises. Good evening. It is currently Thursday night. We have a market on Saturday, so we are frantically just trying to do a little bit of last minute stall prep. Fortunately for us, because of Stationery Fest, most of it is done. We just had to print some more card blanks, not card blanks, print some more cards on card blanks, make some more beaded spiders, some sublimate, some key rings and a mug. So that's what I am going to do in a minute. I've just finished printing all the sublimation paper, so I will get on with that. But I've just packaged up 2 framed inking orders. They are selling steadily. We've sold 4 out of 50, so it doesn't sound like many, but considering, you know, they're a limited print, so they're a bit pricier than my usual prints, and you know, profits going to the Rainforest Trust UK for their Bornean orangutan cause. I think I had to price them accordingly to allow for that, but they are selling very well. So there's 2 there. Natalie, my partner, actually bought one, so we're having one in our house, and my mum kindly bought one too. Let me show you. Oh, I can't show you, apologies, they're both upstairs. I was going to show you the finished result of them framed, but I'll show you next time I frame one. But we frame them, and then as you saw in some of the previous clips, I add a little certificate of authentication on the back of the frames, and then it will probably go in the back of the package if it's unframed. But it looks really nice, it looks really smart, it looks very nice, but we're raising some good money for the cause, so if you are interested in helping that out and you really enjoyed watching me do my inking in previous videos, and you want to own your own limited print before they run out, then please head on over to my website www.lucylocksart.com and purchase one over there. And I'm going to end the vlog here, a bit of an abrupt ending, I know, but to be honest, tomorrow I want to pack the boxes, pack the car, and then have a nice night off before the big Kirkstall Festival market on the Saturday. So, and I also need to edit this vlog. So I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you did, hit that thumbs up, give me a comment down below of something you enjoyed, and let's jump on this hype of adding an emoji to let me know that you've watched till the end. Let's see, what can we add? Oh, add the orangutan emoji. There we go, that's very fitting. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing. We do a bunch of different videos on here. We do vlogs, we do day in the life, weeks in the life. I do a lot of behind the scenes, but I also do a lot of art videos, art challenges, a mixture of everything really. There's nothing that I don't do. So I hope you will stick around and join me on this little adventure of mine. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.